And good morning, everybody. Happy week 3. We're ready to kick things off here on another episode of Woo Fantasy, right here, brought to you as always by Rotoballer.com. And we want to remind you, if you want to win big in 2021 with Rotoballer.com's NFL Premium Pass, are you ready to dominate your season long in DFS leagues? Rotoballer's NFL Premium Pass includes rankings, projections, cheat sheets for all formats, exclusive articles, DFS tools, the often duplicated but never duplicated, often imitated but never duplicated lineup optimizer, premium Slack chats. Join in on the winning. Take 50% off of any premium pass. Use promo code WooFantasy for an additional 10% off at discount for a discount at checkout. So check out rotoballer.com/radio. Sign up today and get rotoballing like a boss. And as always, coming to you here with the Game Day Show live Sunday morning, getting ready for kickoff. As always, we're going to be welcoming in everyone. All the questions you might have, bring them in to me. Flying solo yet again, co-host Nick Heffley, still kind of doing the parental duty. Got things going on down there in Atlanta this weekend with the daughter's birthday party. So Addie with the 1-year-old birthday party is always a big deal for all you parents that are out there, kind of know what he's going through. But might join us a little bit later on as we get into the kickoff. But as always, send us in your questions. We're ready to take those on now. I'll get you as set up as best as possible for victory here in week number 3. And I mean, let's be honest. Let's kind of get right off to the bat here. It is injuries galore. Injuries are the name of the game as we head into week 3 here. I mean, you've got plenty to discuss when it comes to that. We're looking at a lot of the news, and I mean, kind of as to be expected as we've kind of come down to the pike so far. But you're looking at right now, you got Dalvin Cook unlikely to play, which is a big swing for fantasy managers out there. You're looking at Darrell Henderson unlikely to play. Josh Jacobs is very questionable, which we've kind of known that all week long. So those are 3, let's call them heavy hitters when it comes to fantasy football management out there heading into week 3. But I mean, we've also lost other people on the other side of the ball too, as far as wide receivers go. I mean, you're looking at Deontay Johnson's out this week. You've got Jarvis Landry that's out this week now as well. And the very iffy situations that are going on with DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper as well. So those are kind of some things to keep in mind as you're setting those lineups for week 3 right now. So if you have any of those question marks, definitely send them in my way. We'll get you set up. We'll take your questions right here. Get them all answered and ready to go. I do want to we'll bounce backwards real quick into the Thursday night game and touch on that real quick before we get any further here. But the Christian McCaffrey injury, big loss for a lot of fantasy managers out there. It goes down early in that game on Thursday night. Now they're expecting that he's going to miss weeks of action. So that's going to hinge into the waiver wire setup for week 4. So you're going to have a lot of people that are going to wonder what to do now. I would imagine in the deeper leagues that Chuba Hubbard is already drafted and on a team and not available for the wire. But if you're in a situation, you're in a league where Chuba Hubbard is still available and is ready to go, you're gonna put plenty of fab on Chuba Hubbard this week. Yeah, you can probably kind of swing and go the low route as well and go and grab Royce Freeman. But I think they showed everything they did in that game on Thursday night once Christian McCaffrey exited that game, that there are going to be plenty of opportunities for Chuba Hubbard from a fantasy standpoint. So, we have preached on this podcast plenty of times before to handcuff most of your players, especially the big name running backs that you're putting in that draft capital in the first round for. And this is a prime example why you do so. I mean, you even go back to last year, Christian McCaffrey missing a good portion of the season. Now you're looking at that yet again here in 2021. So if you were a smart drafter, you want to kind of make sure that you're doing the right by your investment for that first overall pick and grab that backup and that handcuff. And that was the good thing about Chuba Hubbard, was that he wasn't going very, very early at all in a lot of these drafts. Like say an Alexander Madison, who's now getting thrust into the spotlight today. A lot of people were jumping on Alexander Madison really early in drafts. A lot of people were jumping on Tony Pollard pretty early in drafts. And let's be honest, those are people that were, had some standalone value when it comes to fantasy football anyways. Where Chuba Hubbard, we weren't expecting to see a lot of on the field with a healthy Christian McCaffrey. But now Chuba's getting thrust into the spotlight, so to speak, and we're going to be seeing plenty of him over the course of the next few weeks. So, yeah, if you are in a situation where you're going to have to put some money down in Fab for an available player like a Chuba Hubbard, you're going to put down a lot to get him onto your roster, especially as the Christian McCaffrey owner. If you didn't already have him on your team, I think you've got to just kind of empty the bank to get this guy onto your roster and cover your own backside, so to speak. So, DJ Moore, I mean, we saw just another prime example of a great game from DJ Moore. So that should be something that's going to be the expectation moving forward. I think you're playing him as a wide receiver one type level player from this point on. For the next few weeks. The disconcerting situation, though, is going to be the Robbie Anderson situation. That is going to be one to kind of monitor, because there was a lot of higher expectations for that reconnection with Sam Darnold, but that's really not just panned out whatsoever. So Robbie Anderson, I think he's going to he's now in a situation where you're going to put him in the bench. And let's see how things pan out over the next few weeks. I'm not thrilled with how he's been deployed. He's on the field, he's getting the snap share, but he's just not getting the targets. So that's a little concerning for fantasy managers out there. So we're going to kind of put him on the bench for the next few weeks, kind of see how things are going to play out. But outside of that, let me kind of set things up real quick. We're going to get into your questions here in just a few minutes. Get these week 3 fantasy football lineups set and ready to go for you guys. It's a little bit more of a trying situation here, since I'm doing this the solo situation for this kickoff show today, but we're gonna get you all set up. There we go. And I'm seeing we've got a few of you guys that have chimed in already, so we do appreciate that. Got some questions coming in here already onto the show. Let's see here. We got Michael Alvarado through the Rotoballer YouTube page, which that's actually going to be that's a first for us today too. So if you have not been accustomed to seeing us, we are on the Rotoballer YouTube page today. We're on Rotoballer's Twitter account. So if you're not following us, follow me at Roto Superstar. Follow us at Woo_fantasy. So keeping tabs with us would be great. But we got Michael Alvarado here with the first question out of the gate, wanting to know to go with either Trey Sermon or Clyde Edwards-Helaire today. And for me, I actually do have Trey Sermon ranked ahead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That is a little bit of a better matchup for Clyde Edwards-Helaire this week. But given all the information that we've got coming out of San Francisco, it looks like Trey Sermon is going to be the lead dog in that back this week. So we're going to expect a big workload there. Both have good matchups. I'm expecting to see Sermon get into the end zone in that game at home against the Green Bay Packers tonight. So that's going to be the way that I'm going to lean. So Michael, let's put Trey Sermon into your lineup over CEH. I know we've got a lot of people that are worried about CEH. But if you followed me, you followed this podcast, we've kind of told you for weeks on end now that this was kind of to be expected with CEH, is that he was just the team even last year and even into this year now. They're showing that they're really relying on him more as an early down back, and they're going to have him on the field for first and second down. He's not getting utilized in the red zone. He's not getting utilized as a pass catcher. So that's a little bit more concerning there as well. So especially if you're in a half point, full point PPR type leagues, it's CEH. His stock is just bottoming out right now. And you can even see that with DFS lineups and everything too on DraftKings and FanDuel. They've got him so minimally priced right now that it's almost you have to want to play him, but it's a trap. Let's be honest about that. So we'll get into the next question here. We got Jay on with the shot. I want to know between KJ Osborne, Myles Gaskin, or Tyler Boyd in the flex. And for me, that one's an easy one. I'm going Tyler Boyd in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have not looked great as a pass defense really to start the year. And you're out with T. Higgins today. So that's going to bring you down to just Jamar Chase and just Tyler Boyd. I think you're going to see a big uptick in targets and production from Tyler Boyd this week. I like him more than I like Myles Gaskin in that matchup. They're losing Tua. They're down to Jacoby Brissett. So you're probably going to see that offense really be kind of less creative and just unable to move the ball consistently in that game. And then KJ Osborne, matchup's good. He's surprised the first 2 weeks. We've seen the production that's been there, and he's actually outproduced Justin Jefferson to start the year. But I'm not ready to plug him into my lineups just yet because there could be any week where he just kind of bottoms out and becomes the wide receiver 3 in that offense, and we're going to be back to the normal share of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen there. So for me, yeah, I think it's going to be a big day for Boyd. So Jay, get him into your lineup there. I like Boyd the most out of your options. And here we go. We got Scar 17S here. Want to know Tyson Williams or Mike Evans. This is in the flex spot of a full point PPR. And before we get into that, shocked to see him joining in here. Let me get it set up. We'll have to resubmit. Boom. Well, look at this guy sneaking into the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's the real FF Goat. How we doing, sir?
What's up, guys?
So well.
I'm good, man. We've I finally got to a point where I could come in and damn, I almost wore that shirt too.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. So
we're going
jumping right in. Well, let's lay the mood real quick.
Oh, okay.
I set up the show. I told everybody you probably that you might be in later. I
wasn't expecting to be, honestly.
You were doing the birthday party for Addie. It had a big weekend. A lot of visitors in the house.
We had 25 people yesterday.
Has things settled down? Are we ready to go?
Settled down enough to where I could jump on the podcast real quick.
There we go. Let's say that.
Yeah. I was like, I told everybody, I was like, I've got to make my pod. And I was like, we got listeners out there they got to listen to my advice and not Brandon. I mean, both of our advice.
Geez, here we go. So, but no, yeah, like I said, we're on the Rotoballer YouTube page. We're on the Rotoballer Twitter account too today. So we got a little bit more. We're some new faces out here today, and this is one of them. We've got Scar 1S7 here.
I thought you were talking new faces.
New faces for us.
I was a superstar. Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. So, no question. We got there. Tyson Williams, Mike Evans, flex, full point PPR. Should I still start D-Hop too? I mentioned
absolutely
that as well.
100%. We're still starting. If D-Hop is active, we are going D-Hop.
Yeah, I think you're playing him regardless, even with the banged up ribs. The matchup is too good that I think he's going to get in the end zone. So that's the main question here. We got Tyson or Mike Evans with the very smartly thought out process of whether he's going to get shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, and I think that's going to be the case today.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that I am a little nervous though with Tyson, and I mean you got Latavius Murray still in goal line carries. They've got 3 backs that they're kind of mixing in, so I don't know if I'm excited about either one. I had Mike Evans. I actually had him on the bench until some of these running back moves kind of forced my hand into another direction. I'm starting him. I don't necessarily love it. I mean, I think it's one of those things though where I am still probably starting Mike Evans.
I would actually. I mean, it's a full point PPR. I think I'm going to lean Tyson there between those two. As bad as I want to say that, but I'm really scared of that situation of Ramsey getting shadow coverage on Evans. Yeah, Brown is out, but I think that's really going to put more of an emphasis on covering Mike Evans with Ramsey. So I think that's going to limit his potential production in that game today. I myself am not fearful of Latavius Murray's emergence and what that might do for Tyson Williams in that game. I think they're going to be ahead. You're going to see Tyson catching passes out of the backfield. So there's your full point PPR mentality. I think he gets in the end zone, though. I do think he's going to get that goal line carry. I think he gets in the end zone today. So for me, that's what's going to make me lean more Tyson in that matchup over Evans. So we're 50-50 there on that one. Leave
Right
that one in your lap there. So Michael Alvarado, yep, start D-Hop. He's good to go. We like that. So let's jump in here.
I tell you, if he had been out, I was ready and prepared to start Christian Kirk everywhere.
Yeah, no,
even though I know you guys are more Rondale Moore people, but
no, I actually do have Kirk in a FanDuel lineup today that I've got with the Kyler Murray. So I'm expecting a kind of a back to a Christian Kirk type game today. So we got 90 orbits here. Got a question wanting to know flex 1 point PPR, the aforementioned Rondale Moore, Alexander Mattison, or Michael Pittman. I think we're moving Pittman out of the equation right now, like right off the bat.
Are we?
I think so.
I don't. I was actually going to say that was going to be my answer.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, I think Rondale Moore for me is just really going to be a roller coaster all year. He had the good week last week. I think he's going to be on the come down this week. So for me, the answer is actually Pittman and Madison. Look at what Madison did whenever Cook was out last year. It wasn't a good sign. I think he's lined up to be. You would think he would be the easy answer here, but I'm going Michael Pittman.
Oof, man.
I'm starting. That was who the easy decision was over Mike Evans in this one league that I just mentioned. So I'm absolutely going Pittman. Look at what he did last week, B. Number one receiver there.
Also, too, you have to factor in banged up, both ankles jacked up Carson Wentz under center for the Colts today. Yes, the Titans defense isn't really that great. Well, we know that. But with the who knows what percentage healthy Carson Wentz, is he going to even be able to get the ball to Michael Pittman is the question for me. We've got now Marlon Mack has been ruled out, a healthy scratch for the Colts today, which by all indications for me means this Colt game plan today is going to be turn around, hand it off, give it to Jonathan Taylor 25 times, and let's hope we stay in this ball game.
Yeah, but I think the Titans are going to be up in this game and they're going to be forced to pass. So that's my thing, and that's also my thinking with Madison too. I think you're going to see the Vikings go out there and chuck and duck around.
Yeah, and I think they're going to need to in that matchup for sure. But even still, Madison's going to be a quality threat out of the backfield as a pass catching back today too. I like that. I like that matchup for Madison. I think that there's something to attack there. They're right now coming into this week. They're the next two last in terms of points allowed to fantasy running backs. Of course, you have a big hit with the Derrick Henry game, but they're giving up 32.2 fantasy points per game currently heading into this matchup. So I think that's an area for them to attack. I don't think that there's going to be that big of a drop off with Madison taking over the reins this week. So for me, yeah, I'm going to go Madison. You've got Pittman. We're both off on Moore. Yeah, I know the narrative out there with Moore is he's leading the team with targets, but he's also on the field the fourth most out of all those receivers too. So it's a very volatile situation with Rondale Moore right now. And I don't think in a game where they're going to be beating the Jaguars handily should be, that those opportunities are going to be there to where you're going to really feel good about playing and starting Rondale Moore today. So we got Rob Navarro here needing to know. He's got a 1 point full point PPR. Need a flex play here between Kareem Hunt, Jamar Chase, or James Robinson.
I'm going to go Jamar Chase. I think it's very close actually with him and Hunt. But James Robinson really, I mean, it's unfortunate, but he's going to have to prove something to me before I want to put him in my starting lineup right now. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that offense where they're not running the ball with him. I mean, he should have you would think from the outside should have actually a really good matchup, based on his ability, but they're just not using him like they should. So, I think with T. Higgins out, I think you're going to see the Bengals have to throw the ball a lot, and I think Jamar Chase is going to be the benefactor. So in a close one with him and Hunt, who I think is going to have a better game against the Bears, even over Nick Chubb, I think Jamar Chase is the answer here today.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you there too. Just mentioned it before you hopped in here. We had a question that involved Tyler Boyd. I think with T. Higgins being out today against the Pittsburgh passing defense, it's just not playing great through the first 2 weeks of the season. That's going to be the way that the Bengals are going to have to attack that team today. I think it's leading into a good game for Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd. So, yeah, for me, I've got Chase there as well. I could understand playing Hunt in that game against the Bears. That Bears defense has been kind of a little bit above the average for the first couple of weeks. But with all the key injuries with Cleveland that's facing them, I think that's going to be a situation where they're going to want to try to run the ball in that game. But I'm going to lean Chase. I think there's too much upside in that matchup there. So, yeah, we're both going Chase. So plug him into your lineup, get him in there, and ready to go. 1023 Entertainment here wanting to know Jamar Chase, just the aforementioned Jamar Chase, or Tyson fought in a full-point PPR.
Yeah, I think we kind of alluded to it earlier. At least for me, I'm going to go Jamar Chase in a full point. Again, for me, Latavius Murray for me scares me a little bit with some of Tyson's touchdown potential. So I'm going to go Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you in that one there as well. I think it's close, but I think
close.
The game script I think is going to be what I'm going to lean on there, and I think Jamar Chase has the more upside based on the game script right now and what they're going to be needing to do on offense. So, yeah, I like Jamar Chase there over Tyson. So, Entertainment, get Chase into your lineup today there. Rob jumping back in here too. Got another question. He's got Tony Pollard, Hunter Renfrow, or Darnell Mooney, Mr. Bear there.
Ooh.
Flex full point PPR.
Rob's got some injury questions here.
Yes.
On this team early on, we can tell. I'm probably going to throw a little curveball here with the way that Justin Fields was looking week one. He was actually looking Darnell Mooney's way a little bit. So I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney.
That is an intriguing question for me. I know he's banged up a little bit. I know the narrative among everyone in the fantasy industry right now has been just overblown excitement for Justin Fields in this first start. But I'm very, very curious as to see how he performs on the road against Cleveland. The defense has been better at home than they are on the road. Is the pass defense really up to snuff? Not really. But I'm not really to kind of, put all my money and all my chips on the table for an exciting offensive affair from Justin Fields and the Bears in his first start on the road.
I would love for it to be. It's not going to happen, though. But yeah.
So for me, even as he plays second fiddle to Zeke, I think I'm going to play Pollard. I think that game is going to be a nice kind of a high-scoring affair on Monday night. And we saw Pollard get used a whole lot more last week. He only played 21 snaps, but he got 16 touches in that ball game, which tells me if they're going to put him on the field, they're going to give him the ball. And he looked like the better running back compared to Zeke. He looks more explosive. And I think in a game where they're going to really want to kind of just hammer foot on the pedal, just full bore, both sides of the offense.
Foot and mouth.
I like Pollard there. I think we're going to probably see another solid game out of Pollard in that game. That the Philadelphia's Eagles defense is not really great, and we see these two particular teams playing against each other usually leads to a shootout. So for me, I want to be involved in a game more that's going to have more points on the board than one that's not, and I think that's going to be kind of a low scoring game between the Bears and the Browns. So give me Pollard there. Co-host here, he's got Darnell Mooney. So we're kind of 50-50 there. Any credence at all for Hunter Renfrow?
Yeah,
Any thought?
I think honestly, if it were a tougher matchup, I would probably go with Renfrow.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be up. Game script's going to lead to them running the ball a whole lot more. I think it's going to be more of a Darren Waller week when they do pass it. So I'm seeing Renfrow like a 3 for 40, 4 for 50 kind of a week, not finding the end zone. To be honest, I'm not seeing Mooney do a ton, but I'm saying like 60 to 70 yards and a touchdown. I just think he's going to find the end zone. I think Pollard will have a decent week. I don't think, honestly, and you will probably laugh at me, but I don't care. Zeke Elliott is not going to have a good week. He historically has not done very well against the Eagles. I like Tony Pollard more, but I don't like either of them enough. I think we're going to be doing a lot of that with Dak Prescott this week.
I think that's going to be, obviously what the plan is this week. But I think both running backs are going to be involved enough to be fantasy viable. You're obviously starting Ezekiel Elliott. The question is going to be whether or not you have enough credence to be able to put Tony Pollard in the lineup. And I think you can sneak him in the flex spot in this week in that matchup. That's at least how I'm looking at it too. Put this in there real quick too. So, if your future entrants as well, Rotoballer jumping in, letting us know, compare up to 4 players at once with free who to start tool. So definitely jump in there and check that out. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we've got amazing optimizers, and any of this information is free to use on the Rotoballer website. So definitely check us out there, rotoballer.com. Oh, so we've got some questions that have come through on the video here, but on Twitter, but not in the feed here. We got another question here. It's from Polo Forever 77, wanting to know Tyson or Michael Pittman. This is a flex spot.
A lot of Tyson questions this week.
Everyone. He's high up there this week. Rankings are indicating that the matchup is juicy to say the least. That Ravens Detroit game. I've been talking about it all week long. You're playing every single Raven you got in your roster, and you're loading them up and you're shooting them this week. That's the big play. Lamar Jackson, Marquise Brown. If you've read my woos of the week, Marquise Brown. Boo-boo.
Wait, what?
Bang! Oh yeah.
You're finally on Marquise. It took you this long.
Hey, that man is on fire right now. And that matchup could not be. It's almost. I almost feel like this is one of those situations where Marquise against this Detroit Lions secondary, and to another degree, you could probably say the same about Daniel Jones at home against the Falcons today. The matchup is so good, and that so many people are going to be on these players, especially in DFS terms this week, that it's a trap, and they're going to underperform. And you're shooting yourself in the foot. Thank you, Admiral.
It's a wrap.
So back to the original question.
Tyson, I really don't like that you're on Marquise Brown, though, because you know what that makes me think? He's going to suck because you're finally on him.
Exactly the point that I'm making. Yeah, Marquise is in every single FanDuel lineup for me today.
Might have to bench him.
You might need to drop him.
I'm not going to bench him. It really is. This is tough. Somebody's going to have to not score, right, in this matchup.
Sure.
It's a really tough call for me, but I'm hanging my hat on Michael Pittman this week.
Yeah, I
know you're not, but I'm hanging my hat on Michael Pittman.
I still think I'm going to lean Tyson there. So. Yeah, we're going to go 50-50 on that one again. So let me let him know.
Service with a smile right there.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we've got plenty of questions that are coming in that are just through Twitter, not have been sent in through the actual video link, which I try to describe well enough for people to do. Send it in via the video link so that way it's all in one nice little smooth location here. Another question we got here. This is from Kels and Callie. Want to know Quintez Cephas or James White in a full point PPR?
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Cephas. I think game script's gonna lead for them to be down. James White has been looking good with Mac Jones. At least it's not Cam Newton back there. But I think they're gonna have to chuck the ball around much like this last week. I mean, Cephas 16 of touch this last week. I think you're going to see some of the same. Whereas I don't really know what's going to happen in the Patriots game there. So yeah, I'll take Quintez Cephas all day.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think we're going to go with Cephas on both here. I know everyone's kind of in on James White after that game last week, but that's kind of also the downside to when you roster James White is guessing the appropriate week in which he has a big catch week. And you don't want to have him in your lineup when he goes for those 2 for 22 type games, and that could be the case today.
This feels like one of those.
It does, because you've got Ramondre Stevenson's been declared out on a healthy scratch again today. So we're probably looking at a big dose of Damian Harris yet again. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of what they're going to want to do is they're really going to want to really keep that game tempo really, really slow. I think both teams are going to want to run the ball. You saw last week New Orleans struggled as an offense, and now they're playing New England's defense, and I think that's going to be a bad situation for Jameis again this week. Low-scoring ball game. I just don't see the upside there for me where I do see it with Cephas in that matchup, that negative game script where they're going to be trailing in that ball game. We saw it on Monday night. Detroit wanted to throw the ball against Green Bay because they knew they had to put points on the board. I think it's the same situation today, so –
I told you what my nickname for Cephas is, right?
Bo Cephas?
Oh, damn it. Quit making my shit.
I know. I just thought of that. right off the top of my head. That seems.
I was going to get on the next podcast. I was like, I need to throw it out. Damn, you already got it.
No, yeah, Bo Cephas. That sounds about right.
Come on, Bo.
Question coming in from Chris Baillie here. Half point PPR in the flex. I have Hopkins, but he's worried. Do I go with instead Javonte Williams, Jacoby Myers, or everybody's favorite from this week, Cordero Patterson? You're still playing Hopkins even over those options, right?
If the matchup were harder, maybe I take a look at benching Hopkins. But
yeah,
why is Arizona going to throw him out there in a seemingly, I would say, easy win situation out there? There's no way I'm benching Hopkins. No way. Not at least for these options.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Although if I had to go with one, if you did want to do that, I would probably go Javonte.
Mm-hmm.
Third time's the charm, right, B?
Yeah, that would be the direction that I'd be leaning. I think that's a weird stat too. Is that Denver cannot get out of their own way on right now? Is Javonte's like leading? He's among the league leaders in I think avoided tackles per snap. So the guy is showing flashes back there in the backfield, but we're still toying around with Melvin Gordon back there, playing that even split week in and week out through the first 2 weeks of the season. But no, we're both going to keep Hopkins in the matchup there, Chris. So I think even if he plays limited snaps, I think there's still a chance that he's going to score today. We're going to go keep him in the lineup. So going back to Twitter here, we've got another question from Cam Speedy. Want to know James Robinson.
This year.
Cam is not speedy. Cam Akers is injured, and I'm sad about it. So James Robinson or Marvin Jones, half point PPR today. Going with the Jaguars stack on this team. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Gotta love that. I think I'm just going to go with what I had mentioned earlier. It's tough right now to start Robinson. I mean, you don't know what he's getting on a week-to-week basis. I mean, they should be going out there and running the ball with Trevor Lawrence in the backfield and giving the guy some opportunities to at least get a feel for the game, but they're not doing that. So I'm gonna go with starving Marvin.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm definitely going Marvin Jones there. He's good. He's a good solid play for kind of a good less expensive price on FanDuel today too. I think we keep mentioning, we mentioned the likes of like a Quintez Cephas and things like that. I think you're going to see that with the same way with the Jaguars today. Jones is going to see a lot of passing attempts today, and especially down in the red zone area. I think there's a good chance he gets in the end zone today. Laviska Shenault's a little bit banged up, so I think they're going to lean more on DJ Shark and Marvin Jones.
I think Shark is actually going to be, for me, is the probably the top guy in this passing offense today.
Yeah, I mean, Shark's
FanDuel's.
Shark's one of the league. He's among the lead leaders in air yards right now too. So that's kind of, it's what I told somebody on Twitter just yesterday. They had a question with Cortland Sutton over other couple options, and I mean, Cortland Sutton leads.
Who's right on that?
Cortland Sutton leads. That's he performed well. They got the ball down the field a lot to him. But that's the thing, is that you need to follow the air yards metric. I mean, they're getting the ball in attempts and bunches to these guys. It might not click right away, but eventually it's going to hit, and you're going to want them in your lineup in those weeks where it hits. And most of the time where these air yard leaders, when they hit big in certain weeks. And I think that's going to be something where Shark, Sutton, you're going to be playing these guys and waiting for that big game to pop off. So back to Twitter here. We got Kyle Tipton needing to know. This is a good one. This one stings. Full point PPR, Swift or Antonio Gibson?
Ooh. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to go Swift.
I am too.
I mean, he's got a. I mean, I love Gibson, but he's got a tough matchup this week.
Very tough matchup.
You're gonna have some stack boxes there. Tre'Davious White is going to be on Terry McLaurin, who I benched in the league. But I mean, I think it's going to be you're going to see a lot of what you saw at the end of the game against the Packers this last week, and that's going to be Jared Goff dumping the ball off to Swift and him getting some of that, like you said, that negative game script. So I'm actually going to full point PPR. Yeah, I'm going that way.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I'm going to be playing Swift there. I've got him ranked above Antonio Gibson right now. We saw just yesterday the Ravens got hit with a number of COVID cases again, which really is going to hamper that defense. So I think Detroit's going to be able to kind of use at will what they can do with the DeAndre Swift, who's not even on the injury report, which is kind of a good thing. So I think they're going to unlock him from a full point PPR perspective. Yeah, we're going DeAndre Swift there for sure. Hector Gonzaalez popping in here wanting to know Laviska Shenault, Will Fuller, KJ Osborne, or Brandon Ayuk. He's needing to play two out of these options. And this is a tough situation here.
All right, Hector. It's time to start dealing some studs here and getting some depth on some of these teams. Man. I don't like Laviska. I don't like Fuller. I really don't like. I mean, Osborne has performed the best out of these four, and I don't really like him this week. I think it's going to be a big Justin Jefferson week, and I definitely don't like Ayuk. So if I had to pick two.
Yeah, right.
I would just pick a crazy flyer on Fuller and Ayuk, just to throw out some different crap. Because I think all these guys will be pretty muddled out there. I would say those two probably have better chances to get in the end zone than the other two. So
yeah.
Maybe look on your wire and see. I mean, Osborne may have been a pickup out there, but man,
yeah, I was going to say,
maybe
KJ Osborne was a pickup.
Studs. Yeah, you have to trade off some studs off this team, and trade a D Hop for two, tier 2, tier 3 guys, because man, it's going to be pretty rough week to week if you're starting these guys right now.
Yeah, this is tough because I just don't like banged up Laviska Shenault does not really intrigue me much this week. And even still, while he's been healthy, he's just been kind of mediocrely used in that offense so far. He's not kind of lived up to a lot of the hype that a lot of people built him up to in the offseason. So I don't like Laviska there. Will Fuller, I think for me, he's the play out of these options. I don't like Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback. I think the Dolphins offense is going to be very, very limited today. but they're going to be trailing more than likely in that game. They're going to have to move the ball through the air, and I think Fuller, first game back, they're probably going to try to do something game plan wise to really involve him and get him in the game and utilize him, especially speed down the field. So I'm playing Fuller for sure, but the question mark is really Osborne and Ayuk. Osborne, like I mentioned before you jumped onto the podcast, we had another question with Osborne. Everybody's very intrigued wanting to get him in the lineups this week because of how he's performed up till this week. But he's outperformed Justin Jefferson, which is a fluke. He's I don't think that snap rate that he's had so far and the usage is going to continue. Do you want to risk it and this be the week that bridge falls out beneath his feet? Possibly. But for me, I think I'm probably going to go with the better talent, and that's Ayuk. I'm probably going to play Ayuk. Yeah, he's been in the doghouse. He's not been utilized much to start the season, but we're probably looking at Jair Alexander being matched up and shadowing Deebo Samuel in this game. And I think they're going to have to use Ayuk against King on the other side.
Here we go.
I'm following the smell. I'm like a hunting dog here. The smell leads me to Ayuk over Osborne. So those are going to be the two guys we're going to play there.
I maybe have time for one more here, B.
Okay, you're jumping. Rondale Moore, Manny Alvarez want to know Rondale Moore or Mike Davis as a second flex in a PPR.
Indeed. I'm going to go Rondale Moore. I've not been on Mike Davis the entire offseason. I don't think game script is going to project them to do much of anything. So yeah, go ahead and give me Rondale Moore.
Yeah,
is that how Rondale Moore's name is spelled with a little hyphen thingy up there?
The hyphen on the top? No, it's not at all.
Oh, never mind. Manny may be posting from somewhere where that's okay. Yeah, there we go. No. Okay, I was like, wait a minute, am I missing something?
So we're going Rondale Moore there. So yeah, even like possibly with the limit of DeAndre Hopkins in that matchup today, I think that might open up the door for Rondale Moore to kind of hit on a big play again today. So yeah, we're gonna go.
I may like somebody else over those two.
Manny said no. He said Siri keeps doing that to us.
Okay.
F Siri. And her
why
bias.
did the LMAO have a little, or the O have a little?
Manny fixed it.
In German, it's called a umlaut, but I don't know what it's called. Manny, what's it called? What's it called in Spanish?
But we're getting into very different geographical terminology today on today's podcast here.
I don't know how to spell umlaut, but that's what it is.
Thanks for that German heritage jumping in on the podcast today.
Yeah, I was trying to get Jonathan in here, but
Joe Nathan, little brother, he's not going to do that.
Little brother. Well, here let's pose you a question. He asked me right before I jumped on the podcast. Do you go Justin Herbert or Dak Prescott this week?
Oh God, Dak Prescott. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going Dak Prescott all day long.
I think Justin Herbert's actually going to be a lot closer, and again,
he's going to have to be sure. So, but yeah, I think Prescott's probably looking at a 3-4 touchdown game easily. All right,
have fun. Out there. I'm glad I could hop on. Good luck, everybody.
Definitely.
We'll see
you later.
Week.
All right. Bye. And back to the normal setup here. We've got nice for the co-host there to jump in. So finishing up today's podcast here, we're going to jump in. We got Alex Holman wanting to know Michael Carter or Nyheim Hines. I think because of the Marlon Mack situation, he's a healthy scratch today. Between those two, Michael Carter's got a tough matchup on the road against the Denver Broncos. I'm going to play Nyheim Hines there and hope for the best. We did see last year in one of the games against the Titans, Nyheim Hines went off on a Thursday night. So maybe they play that same game script today, throw out a little bit of the same usage that they did with Hines in that affair. So for me, I'm going to get Hines into that ball game there. So plug him into your lineup there. I believe that would probably be in your flex spot is what you're thinking. But yeah, I'm playing Hines over Carter there. We're going to start one. This is Garrett W. Want to know start one PPR, Madison, Tyson Williams, or Sermon here. That is a difficult question. I'm going to look at my updated rankings here where I have them currently. And because I've got them bunched together, I've got Madison at RB17 for the week. I've got Tyson at RB19 and Sermon at 21. I don't think you can really go wrong with either. Between the three that you've got there, Tyson is the only one that's really probably looking at a semi-split workload. Madison and Sermon are probably going to be the bell cows for their respected offenses in their matchups. For me, I'm going to probably go with Madison. What we've seen that he can do in that offense, I think he's going to be heavily utilized there with Dalvin Cook potentially out of that ballgame. So for me, give me Madison between those three. So Garrett, get Madison in your lineup there. Chris Lemus want to know D-Hop or Cortland Sutton. I think we kind of just playing the narrative we played so far through the show here. We're going to play D-Hop, even limited in that matchup. I think there's still an upside that he gets into the end zone, so we're going to play D-Hop there over Sutton. But I wouldn't fault you to go either way. I think both are going to be in store for big games, or especially with Sutton. Like I mentioned, now we're going to follow the air yards, and the air yards he's leading the league in. There's definitely a potential that he's going to pop off a big game. The Jets secondary has surprisingly been pretty good so far to start the year. So for me, that's going to help me to lean a little bit more towards DeAndre Hopkins. So that's going to be my answer there. We're going to play Hopkins over Sutton. So let's get him into that lineup there. Outside of that, we're kind of right here towards the end of the show. Definitely appreciate everybody that's popped in. This has kind of been a new setup for a lot of people, especially everybody that's on that Rotoballer YouTube page or the Rotoballer account on Twitter. You've not been accustomed, if you're not following me up until this point, or following us on the Twitter account on the podcast page. That's woo_fantasy. We'd like to welcome you in here to this podcast, this Woo Fantasy Podcast. We do it every single week. So if you've not been accustomed to seeing us, definitely jump on, help us out, throw a like on us there, subscribe to the YouTube page, get used to seeing us. I think we're going to kind of try to make this an every week thing. We've done this game day show for over a year now. So now Rotoballer kind of intrigued, wanting to have us jumped in here and help out and answer these questions on Sunday mornings. And we couldn't, be more pleased to do so. We love helping everybody and set lineups and setting up everybody for success. So we definitely appreciate the new names and faces that we're seeing in here today in the comment section and the chat. So definitely love talking to new people out there and helping everybody out. So welcome in. Glad you're here. I hope everybody has a great day of success today in week 3. Definitely wanted to touch on it real quick too. FanDuel lineup wise, if you've read my article that was out, I put it out on Friday this past week. The Woos and Boos for week 3 this week. I did mention just a few minutes ago, Marquise Brown is one of them today that's in there. Chase Edmonds is another guy that I'm liking today. I've got him in plenty of FanDuel lineups that I've put out there. That matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think Chase Edmonds is primed for a very good performance today. So if you've got him, you're possibly thinking about putting him into your lineups today in season-long leagues, get him in there. But I definitely think for the price on FanDuel in DFS lineups, he's definitely worth a start today as well. But most of the other guys I'm playing, I'm playing a lot of these big-name guys. I've got Marquise Brown in there. I've done the lineups with Lamar Jackson. I've got Kyler Murray. I've got that Cardinals stack in there as well. Sterling Shepard should be in line for a big day yet again against that Atlanta Falcons secondary. I know there's a lot of conjecture out there right now from Giants as far as limiting Kenny Galladay's workload today. They do have Evan Ingram back in and active today, and I think there are a lot of people are kind of confusing those two narrative-wise. But I don't think one has to do with the other. I think Kenny Galladay is really banged up, and they're wanting to kind of limit his workload a little bit. But Evan Ingram is Evan Ingram. Let's be honest about it. I'm not too thrilled about him being out there on the field and kind of confusing people into whether or not he's going to be a playable option in fantasy. I'm going to probably be in wait-and-see mode with Evan Ingram today. I'm going to shy away and see how things play out there. So Sterling Shepard's a big play for me. Defensive-wise, I've got the Las Vegas Raiders in every single lineup that I'm playing today. So I think that's a team that, price wise is very negotiable to where you can get that flexibility in your roster in other places. I think Las Vegas playing at home against that Dolphins offense that we mentioned through this show is that, Jacoby Brissett under center is going to kind of limit what they do from an offensive standpoint. I don't expect to see very much from that team today. So I'm definitely going to be really, really in on Las Vegas, the Raiders defense today in that matchup. So outside of that, I think we've kind of hit a lot of these questions, kind of taking care of some things for you guys today. Like I mentioned, as always, shoot us any kind of questions you might have at Roto Superstar for myself. The podcast page, of course, is at woo_fantasy. Hit us up there. And many of you that have been following Rotoballer continue to hit us up with the questions at rotoballer.com. That is the Twitter account, the YouTube page here. Hit us up wherever you can, but definitely continue to check us out. We're here for you. We're here to help you win. That is the name of the game. That's what we do. What we do is for you, the listeners and the readers out there. So definitely kind of just stick with us. And hopefully, like I mentioned, big day of football today, week 3 action. Hopefully you guys are out there. You're going to get some wins today. Hopefully we're helping to lead you in that direction. But until next time, we will see you on another episode of Woo Fantasy. Woo!